From Washington, D.C. to the Big Ten, and now anchoring one of the toughest defenses in the Gulf South Conference, Valdosta State's Greg Hudgins has seen it all. A former four-star recruit, a leader on the Blazers' defensive line, and a player who knows what it takes to win on Saturdays in the GSC. Coming up, Greg joins us to share his journey, his leadership, and what makes GSC football one of the fiercest conferences in the country. This is Inside the GSC. Today on Inside the GSC, we are joined by Valdosta State senior defensive lineman Greg Hudgins. From Washington, D.C. to Purdue, now anchoring the Blazers' defensive front in the Gulf South, Greg's journey has been about resilience, growth, and leadership. Greg, we know you've been busy so far, but we really do appreciate you taking some time out of your busy schedule to join us.
Thank you for having me.
Absolutely. Greg, let's start at the beginning. When did you first start playing football, and what drew you to the game initially?
I started playing football when I was 5 years old. My dad, obviously, he was a big football fan. He played in high school, didn't play in college. He played basketball in college, but he had me around the game early on. I wanted to play before I was 5. I wanted to start playing when I was 4, but they didn't let me play. So when I got that first opportunity to play, I definitely took the chance at it.
As a 4 or 5-year-old, what was your position that you played?
I played offensive tackle and defensive tackle.
Did the coach ever give you an opportunity to play quarterback or different positions, or was it always been defensive line and offensive line that was your niche?
I didn't start playing tight end. I started playing tight end and defensive end going into 5th grade. And then I played a little bit of fullback in 6th grade, 6th and 7th.
Awesome. Yeah, because sometimes with those positions, you never know, there's always a different position that you try. And then by the time you get to 5th, 6th, 7th grade, it seems like you start to develop into a role that's more comfortable for you. And you can tell that it's the right fit for you. Growing up, who were your mentors, influences, coaches early on in your football journey that just really resonate with you even today?
Growing up, my dad for sure, because he was my coach, and then my mentor, Coach Russo, back home for Columbia Ravens. Also, I played with them with that coaching staff from the time I was 5 years old through 7th grade. So I definitely have a lot of fond memories and a lot of great experiences with that staff and those players that I played with on those teams.
What moments stand with you as Coach Russo was building you up as a kid, going through the football process? Because with sports, when you're playing sports at that young age, that's character development too, right? And even just speaking from personal experiences, there's just those coaches that stick with you day in, day out that you think of. So just tell us a little bit more about Coach Russo and just kind of some of the lessons or even just some practice methods that really have stuck with you today.
So for me personally, Coach Russo was kind of like the coach who would take me to the side and like talk to me. Whereas like my dad, he was on it, like fired up, ready to go. If I did something wrong, he was on me, where like Coach Russo, he would be like, listen, like it's cool. We gonna do this and you'll, get right the next player or whatever. So, but for like Coach Russo's son played on the team, and it was like the opposite relationship with his son and like my dad. So really just the resilience and never giving up, punching somebody in the mouth the first chance you get. That was really the first message that I got.
Awesome. Yeah, no, that's definitely exciting to hear. So you get to high school, you play, you end up becoming a top recruit, you play for Purdue, and just the experience that you've had with the Boilermakers, you play a couple games, and then Valdosta State comes calling. Take us through that process of just the first time you heard from Coach, what they were offering you. Just take us through how you first heard about Valdosta State.
To be honest, Valdosta State reached out to me first. It was an opportunity. I was very fortunate enough to come across somebody's recruiting page and pop up. I was in the middle of getting my eligibility together. So it was just a blessing and an opportunity. Coach Gino Spadaro, our D-line coach now, and Coach Jack from last year's staff really reached out, got to me. Just let me know that even though like I made mistakes and messed up, that there's still an opportunity, and it's my choice to do right with it.
Absolutely. And just when they initially talked to you through that recruiting process and just wanted to bring in, since they've reached out to you first, how much looking up or how much social media search did you do on Valdosta State afterwards just to kind of get a better idea on what you were potentially going into?
I did like a 2 or 3 days of research on the school following that. Like I said, I didn't really have too many options at the point in time, so I was blessed and just ready to jump at any opportunity and do what I had to do to get into school and get back playing again.
Absolutely. Compared to the last season that you played with Valdosta State this past 2024 year and your time when you played with Purdue, how would you compare the two environments and the game day experience of being in the Big Ten versus being in the Gulf South Conference from a premier Division II standpoint?
I would say that the atmosphere is definitely the atmosphere for on scale. Like if you, the scale wise, it's the same almost. Like you have your fans, you have your tailgates. Everybody in town's excited before everybody in town shows up to the game. So on that aspect of it, it's the same. I would like to personally hear our fans be more louder in the stands, but maybe that's just me. I feel like we could do a better job with that. But no, our fans are great, and I'm very thankful. We're all very thankful for them and all the support that we get from the folks around town.
Transitioning into this past season, let's talk a little bit more about just the past 2024 season. Last year, you saw action in 12 games. You picked up 13 tackles. You even had a fumble return in that process. What moment from that season altogether, whether it's stats or just something in or off the field, that stuck with you the most from that campaign?
Honestly, I felt rusty, like majority of the season. I hadn't really played in almost like a year and a half. So just I felt like majority of the season I was just knocking off the rust, getting back to my old self. I feel like I really didn't get back to how I wanted to be playing towards like the end of the season and going into the playoffs.
You mentioned being rusty, but it seemed like, as the season was going on, there were more opportunities with the run that VSU had going all the way to the national title game. Talk to us a little bit, just that run. And as you guys are winning week after week, you're having home games, so you don't have to worry about traveling. But just take us through that process. First, after that semifinal game against Minnesota State Mankato, and as the seconds were counting down and you knew you were about to win, take us through the feelings, just your initial thought process when it became a reality that you guys were going to McKinney, Texas for the national championship.
I mean, I couldn't believe it, especially speaking from, where I had been at and just everything that I had been through just to even be able to get that opportunity to be on the team and get to experience that with the guys and the coaching staff. It was just it's ultimate gratitude, and I felt fulfilled in the moment.
Absolutely. And it wasn't the ideal storyline that VSU had hoped from the national championship. But just afterwards, when it was all said and done, when you guys came back, what was your mindset just coming back, when you're flying back to VSU? Just take us through what was through the mind of Greg Hudgins, just fresh off that moment.
We got to finish this next year. Like, this can't happen like this ever again. And then I was excited to get into the off season, have a whole off season that I can just go in and work and do what I'm supposed to do and put everything I have into the sport and the game.
Absolutely. And speaking of which, Greg, talk to us a little bit more how your off-season preparation has been so far from last winter, we'll say January of 25, to what you've been doing in the springtime, even into the summer. What have you been doing personally to get mentally and physically prepared for the 25 season?
Definitely a lot more in the playbook, a lot more studying, a lot more stretching. Workouts, obviously, those went great. I think for me, just being in the weight room the whole summer, being with the guys, building those bonds, it brought us all closer together.
Now, we'll switch a little bit from the football side of it, and we want to try to get to know you a little bit more as a person. Currently, you're studying organizational leadership at VSU. For me personally, when you look at different majors, I think when you first told me about organizational leadership, I was like, that would have been nice to have as a major, compared to just, general business, other pieces. But there's a specific focus with leadership. So talk to us, when you were going through the process of going to VSU, what led to you saying organizational leadership is the major that I want to graduate with at VSU?
Okay. So, majoring in organizational leadership, I just felt like for me, it would be the best way to keep all my career paths open. I'd like to coach. I'd like to teach. I'd like to get into real estate. I want to do a whole bunch of different things, and I didn't want to limit myself. And if there was other ways that I can learn how to become a better leader, I felt like selecting that major was the best way for me to do that.
Absolutely. You mentioned real estate as well. Talk to us a little bit more about just life beyond football. You also mentioned you wanted to coach as well. Any particular area in coaching, like if it's going to be the Pee-wees, high school, trying to get into college coaching?
I prefer to start out in college coaching. Eventually, once I have like kids way down the line, I'd like to like coach them up, of course. But as of right now, just college coaching in college. And then you asked about the real estate side also. Yeah. So just, I don't know. I like money. So I feel like if you could sell houses to people, then you always going to be able to make money somewhere, wherever you're at in the world.
Greg, how do you balance being a student athlete while also preparing what's next in life as well? I mean, again, senior, you're on the cusp of graduating, but just figuring out what that's going to look like and how to mentally prepare for those future opportunities.
I would say just stand on top of your time management, not procrastinating. That's the biggest thing. I feel like a lot of times, especially when you have like online classes and stuff like that, like I do, it could be easy to think that you have more time than what you have, and you can get like a little bit behind, especially when dealing with like film and what you got to prepare for the upcoming week. So just stand on top of your books and then finishing work early if you can. That way, your back end of the week, like Wednesday through it's time for game day, you could focus on just film and football.
If football weren't an option for you, let's say something happened and you had to walk away from the game potentially,
Mhm.
what's something else that you would pour your energy into? Something that's a mission, a life calling, something that you would just dedicate pretty much every single ounce of your time into?
Doing what I can to help others. I'm not sure what that really would look like until I would be in that specific situation, but doing whatever I can to help other people, I feel like a lot of times it can be easy to just focus on ourselves and, get selfish. But if you see somebody that needs help, I think it's important to help them out.
Couldn't agree with you more there on that front, Greg. I mean, that's something that, you always want to help people, and there's not a lot of individuals out there that carry that selfless mindset as you do. So we appreciate you sharing that with us. And now that we're kind of talking a little bit more about the student athletes and still talking about VSU, we'll start to shift a little bit back towards the football mindset again. Valdosta State's been known to have one of the richest traditions in Division II football, let alone just the GSC and, in the state of Georgia. How do you and your teammates keep that legacy alive in the locker room?
Just by reminding ourselves on a daily basis that the standard is the standard and we know what's expected out of ourselves and what everyone in the town and everything like that expects out of us. But I feel like if we don't expect it and demand it out of ourselves, then with the rest of what everybody else thinks doesn't even matter. So, um, yeah, just reminding everybody daily of, why we're all here. Remember your whys and come in ready to work every day to get better.
I know with traditions at VSU, I remember coming down there last fall at one point, and you guys had a certain tradition where every game day there's a certain path, a certain walkway you guys go down and you meet fans, and it's an absolute party because you meet with so many folks, you meet with the Red Hots, the Blazer bands. Take us a little bit more into that tradition and just kind of, what you feel every time you're greeted by just that fan base that continues to just get you hyped up. You're already hyped up, and just what that tradition means for you personally.
I mean, it was great. When I first got here, I wasn't even expecting that. Like, I didn't know that was gonna happen, or like I wasn't expecting, the fans, the band, the cheerleaders, everybody in town. I wasn't expecting nobody to be there for the walk. Um, that was like that's on the same level as D1 right there. Like, it doesn't get any better than that. It's just like I said earlier, it's just a blessing, and I'm extremely grateful for it. Because when I didn't have it, I definitely missed it a lot. So just try to take it all in, and just be grateful.
And last question on the leadership portion of things, 2025 season. What excites you most about this year's team heading into the season?
We all feel like we let ourselves down at the end of last season. I feel like we all have something to prove. So that's that.
Greg, we want to thank you again for taking the time out of your schedule. But before we let you get going, we have a couple of rapid fire questions we'd like to throw at you. We want to, get a little bit more of that personality, and really want to, just get your thoughts about the inside scoop on Greg Hudgins.
Okay.
So the first question we have, though, and again, we know that you've been at VSU one season so far, but which GSC rivalry game gives VSU the best energy to play in?
West Florida.
What about the West Florida atmosphere that gets you hyped up? I mean, there's Delta State, there's West Alabama, there's different schools in the process, but what specifically about West Florida gets you on a whole different level?
I just feel like maybe they have the most to say sometimes on the field. So it's just extra motivation.
Besides VSU, and I'm not sure how popular you are, or how good you are with uniforms, customizations, and whatnot, but name the best uniform drip you have seen, besides VSU, of course.
Ever?
Just within the GSC, or just the schools that you played, and what stands out to you in terms of just a drip that you look at that you're like, ooh, I wish we had that, or I wish our design team did something like that with us.
And I don't want to be selfish, but I like the old Blazer logo a little bit. I feel like if we could do some stuff with that, that would be cool. Like, if we could add some more stuff with that, I would like that. I'm going to be selfish. I'm going to just go with the Blazers.
In the GSC realm, I would say that there is a lot to go about. I mean, you take care of business on the road, but sometimes when you think about what Valdosta State has to offer, everybody has a certain go-to place that they like to go to eat. So in your time at Valdosta so far, what recommendations would you say, or what's your best go-to place to eat in the city?
My best go-to place? See, I'm more of a at-home cooking type of guy. Like, I like to, go to my grocery store, get my groceries, get my salmon, season it up real good, get some vegetables, maybe some little red potatoes, season them up, throw them in there. That's more my type of vibe. There's a lot of good places though. Big Nick's is always good. I like King of R&B. That spot is pretty good. But I don't really eat out too much. I try to cook as much as I can at home.
How many people on your team know that you're a pretty solid cook?
Oh, probably not that many. I don't cook for nobody. I'll tell them if they want to come over, they're more than welcome. But no, probably not that many players. Probably only like 3.
You mentioned you were cooking up some ribs, salmon. Is there a particular dish that you know is a Greg Hudgins specialty, that if you had to cook one dish for somebody special, or if you had one opportunity to make the best ideal dish, what would be that signature dish that you'd tell people like, this is what defines Greg Hudgins cooking?
See, it's kind of hard to say because my favorite thing to cook and eat is breakfast. But I know other people are probably going to be wanting something fancy. So let's just go with like fried chicken, waffle, but like homemade waffle, like off the waffle maker. Throw some cinnamon in there, some vanilla abstract, probably some eggs, bacon, or whatever. If they don't eat red meat or pork, then we'll get them the turkey sausage, and then you need a big cup of juice, like a really big cup of juice, maybe some Minute Maid or something like that. I don't know. I like orange juice.
Oh, okay, I know. I was getting ready to say, Greg. I am like, come on now. I mean, like, if you're mentioning breakfast and you're just saying juice, we gotta hear some kind of flavor.
Yeah,
Like, if it's
I
an
like I
apple,
like
orange, grape.
or you can't go wrong with orange juice or apple juice though. Never, you can never go wrong with those. No pulp in my orange juice though. All right, you gotta add some biscuits to that meal. By the way, you gotta add some biscuits.
And then, Greg, one other question we did have from that is, if you weren't playing football,
Hmm.
what sport would you want to try out for a season?
Probably baseball. My dad was pretty good at basketball and he played football also. So I know he wasn't good at baseball, but my pop likes baseball. So that's why I would be baseball.
Greg, again, we want to thank you for tuning with us on the show here. We appreciate you taking the time. We're looking forward to seeing what you have to do in the 2025 season. And make sure you guys follow along with Valdosta State football. Make sure you catch all their action. And Greg, good luck to you this upcoming season.
Thank you. Appreciate your time.
Thanks for tuning into this episode of Inside the GSC. Don't forget to hit like, share, or subscribe wherever content can be found so you won't miss highlights, stories, and more. So long for now, and we'll see you back here next time on Inside the GSC.